Well, the causes of two fires in the eastern Sierra, the devastating Round Fire last year and the Rock Creek fire from earlier this month, have been released. Now, the CAL FIRE investigation report on the Round Fire, now this is according to a story in the Sheet newspaper, is that a tree came down in some power lines on a windy day with 50 to 70 mile per hour gusts. Now, the Sheet story says the report states the power lines arced as they fell and started grass and nearby trees on fire, which spread quickly in an area dry from historic drought conditions. Now, the Round Fire in February of 2015 destroyed 53 structures, burned approximately 7,000 acres, and displaced scores of people from their homes. Now, the Sheet reports that lawsuits are already being prepared, with a firm saying it is representing 20 and consulting with 2 more clients, showing an interest in suing Southern California Edison. The CAL FIRE report finds no one to be at fault. Now, Sierra Wave Media has contacted CAL FIRE numerous times since the Round Fire for this report, but we were not contacted when it was released. We will note the Sheet story says Mono County Supervisor Fred Stump acquired a copy through a records request act and has handed some out to Swall Meadows, who are making copies or sharing the report. You can see the full story on thesheetnews.com. And the cause of the Rock Creek fire that started August 5th has been determined. Investigators have concluded that the fire was started from a bicycle pedal that struck a rock. Now, a press release from the United States Forest Service states that conclusive evidence was found in the fire origin area that was on Lower Rock Creek mountain bike trail. Now, the report says a fire ignition from this type of trigger is a testament to how dry the area is right now. All residents, visitors, everybody asked to be extremely careful with anything that may cause a fire while you are out and about in the eastern Sierra. Well, Deb Murphy filed a story on the Inyo County Grand Jury report, which takes aim at both Northern Inyo Hospital Board of Directors, as well as Inyo County and the C.J. Roxanne water bottling plant in Cartago, specifically arsenic seeping into the groundwater. Now, while more pages were devoted to Inyo County's Office of Education and the former Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Terry McAdoo, both came out better than Northern Inyo Hospital and the arsenic issues. Now, the report on Northern Inyo Hospital is critical of former Chief Executive Officer Victoria Alexander Lane, but seems to put the blame squarely on the shoulders of the district's board. The report says, quote, the board had little control over their CEO and would not consider concerns of NIH staff or medical doctors. In addition, the BOD was unresponsive to citizen concerns and unprepared for dealing with issues at the hospital, end quote. Again, that's from the grand jury report. Inyo County Grand Jury also slammed the board for lack of training and an, quote, understanding as to their role and responsibility, end quote. Alexander Lane was criticized for handling staff and citizens' concerns, quote, as well as them personally in a very unprofessional manner and with disdain, end quote. Now, the document describes the CEO's style, quote, when dealing with people and their concerns was to use intimidation and fear, end quote. Now, the report's most scathing indictment of the board came in the final statement on community involvement, which states, quote, the community should strongly encourage the candidates to run for the NIH board who understand the role the hospital plays as a community-based institution, end quote. Next, under the microscope, what the report describes as the county staff inaction and C.G. Roxanne's actions regarding a seeping arsenic pond on its Cartago bottling plant site. Now, the issue was fully discussed at a public meeting initiated by 5th District Supervisor Matt Kingsley. This was taking place last March. Now, when arsenic levels in the bottling company's wells exceeded acceptable levels, the company began to filter out the arsenic and discharging it into the arsenic pond. The pond's liner leaked, sending arsenic into the groundwater. Consultants Geosyntec and the Houghton Regional Water Control Board were brought in 2 years ago and began the process of determining the extent of the seepage and identifying mitigation and remediation. The arsenic is now trucked out of the area for disposal. Now, all the entities included in the grand jury report are asked to respond within 60 to 90 days. Deb Murphy's full story, and we believe this is going to be the first one on that report, is on our website, sierrawave.net. Well, the Indian National Forest is seeking input for the proposed Mammoth Base land exchange. Now, under the proposed action, 30.6 acres of land would be transferred to Mammoth Mountain Ski Area. 12 non-federal parcels totaling approximately 1,317.5 acres would be transferred to the United States to be managed by the United States Forest Service. Now, these private lands would be exchanged with the Inyo, Stanislaus, and Plumas National Forest. Now, the press release notes that the purpose of the project is twofold: to acquire environmentally sensitive lands and an administrative site to better meet resource and other management goals of the U.S. Forest Service as outlined in the respective land and resource management plans of the National Forest involved in this exchange, and to exchange developed lands in the National Forest that encumber adequate management by the United States Forest Service and would better serve the community and economic needs of the town of Mammoth Lakes and Mono County in private ownership. And we hope that would be a new base lodge for Mammoth Mountain. Now, the Inyo National Forest will hold a public meeting September 8th, starting at 6 p.m. Mammoth Lakes Town Council, Suite Z, Old Mammoth Road, and that will provide an overview of the project and to answer questions from the public. If you would like to comment or need more information, you can contact Janelle Walker at fs.fed.us. And Deb Murphy filed this report. Former Inyo County Associate Planner Elaine Caballo was introduced at Monday's Bishop City Council meeting as the new part-time Associate Planner / Economic Development Coordinator. She will assume the planning duties of the soon-to-be retired Gary Schley. Schley's duties as building inspector will be carried out by a second Inyo County inspector, with the city contributing $60,000 to that position's salary. Also at the Bishop City Council meeting, Bishop Fire Chief Ray Seguin explained that the power outage Sunday inadvertently set off the department's fire alarm that evening. The dispatcher console's battery backup had been disconnected while work was being done on the unit. When the generator kicked in after the outage, it tripped the alarm. Also, Joe Lane of Mountain Rambler Brewery was the feature business report. Brewery will be doubling its production with the installation of 4 new brewing tanks in November. Lane reported that Mountain Rambler's license allows for parking lot parties 4 times a year, and he is planning on taking advantage of the opportunity. City of Bishop will be paying back the $230,606 in misallocated sales tax to Bishop. This by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's direct pay permit. The funds will come from the city's reserves with no impact on city services, said Administrative Officer Jim Tatum, who also noted the likelihood of this happening again is slim. Bishop City Council also approved comments on the Inyo National Forest revision plan with one change, stressing an increase in trails for hiking and motorized vehicles. The comments reflected those by the Eastern Sierra Council of Governments and the Eastern Sierra Recreation Collaborative. We'll be back with more news.